Okay, so we are moving to our last session today, which is going to be a recruitment and introduction networking session with the Manara program, and a very special and unique program started by a group of amazing ladies working from the Middle East and the US. So we will start with introducing them. We have first Ilyana Montak. She's the CEO and co-founder of Manara program. Let me share my screen, 1 minute. Okay. Yes, and we have Rania Dawood, a software engineer intern at Amazon Berlin. We have Samira Salame. She's a software engineer from Progenier Technologies and also previous intern at LinkedIn. And we have Sukaina Abelhad, the machine learning engineer. We are so happy to have you here, all of you today, and we will start with Ilyana. Please introduce yourselves, and then we can start the discussion. And for all the audience, please speak during the discussion.
Yeah, thank you all for inviting us. We're so excited to be here. The way we'd actually love to run this is to have me introduce Manara, and then each lady will introduce herself. So it'll take about 5 minutes to get through the intros, maybe 10 minutes, and then we'll have 10 minutes at the end to just interact with you all and answer your questions. This session is here for two reasons. One is to help you with your careers. We have learned so much at Manara about how to help people reach their dreams, and we want to make sure through each of these women's experiences and through my experience and through May's that we help you and that we help you help your chapters. And so we're really eager to get your questions at the end. It can be a very personal question, or it can be a question about your chapter. So start thinking about what questions you have for us. And the second reason that we're here today is to ask you for your support, because Manara's goal, Manara's mission is to help women engineers in MENA, especially women, reach world-class jobs. And we started in Palestine and we've started expanding since then. And we're really eager for your support expanding across the region. Okay. This is called networking with recruiters and career experts. So I'm going to start with one of the biggest networking tips we have, which is to turn on your cameras during networking sessions. And so if you don't have your camera on and you're able to, then go ahead and turn it on now. It really helps to make people feel connected to you and want to support you. And it creates energy for everyone. It also makes it a lot easier for a speaker to feel appreciated and to feel like they can tell if their content is coming across well or not, because they can look at your visual cues. Typically at Manara, we give a tip that if you cannot turn your camera off, you have to explain. If you can't turn it on, you have to explain why in the chat. Okay. So thank you, Wafat. Shukran b'zaf. I see you turned your camera on. Okay, so what is Manara? Manara helps engineers reach their dream jobs. We're focused on MENA, and we have a special emphasis on women, and we were born in Palestine, in Palestine. We've gotten women into jobs at companies like Google, at Amazon, and also really excellent remote jobs. So you don't have to leave the MENA region to get a world-class job. We're really here to help people reach their dreams, whatever those dreams are. And we have some people working remotely now from Ramallah, earning up to $100,000 a year working remotely. So have helped people not only increase their salaries, but also increase the depth and quality of the jobs that they have, the kinds of teams they're working with. The reason that we do it is that we've seen that the region has sometimes a low ceiling in terms of the quality of the jobs. So people will graduate from college and you guys are just as good as anyone anywhere in the world. And then the local region is having trouble absorbing all of the talent that's graduating from universities. And so a lot of people don't get any job at all. I hear from women computer scientists in the region that they're nervous about being able to find a job, which is crazy when the world is dying for computer science talent, that you're nervous about whether you can even find a job. And then often women are finding jobs that are just not good enough for their skills. We've had examples sometimes of people doing quality assurance engineering out of college when their dream is to be a data scientist, and they can be a data scientist. Okay, so that's why Manara exists. And my co-founder, Leila, she's from Gaza. She came to Silicon Valley because she couldn't find a job in Gaza for a whole year after graduating from college. And then when she got here, she eventually found an excellent job at a top tech company. She got promoted to a team lead role in record time. Guess how many jobs she had to apply to before that happened? You can write it in the chat, okay? So Leila, top university in Gaza, top student in her class, moves to the United States because she can't find a job in Gaza, eventually is like the superstar at one of the top tech companies in Silicon Valley. Exactly, you guys are right on the mark. 60 jobs that she applied to before she got that job, even though she's clearly better than most of her coworkers once she got there. And the reason is that people are facing a gap. It's not facing a gap of skill. It's not facing a gap of talent. The gap is resumes. So your resumes don't look like something that somebody at these companies can recognize. They don't know what Al Azhar University is, for example. The next is, so you don't even get an interview because they look at your resume and they don't know what to do with it. And then the next is, if you do get an interview, often not knowing how to pass the interviews, because the interviews are like a game and you have to learn how to play this game. And so Leila showed up to her first interviews and she was just like a deer in the headlights, even though she's an excellent engineer. Okay. So what Manara does is it's a 4-month entirely remote program. You can do it while you're in school studying computer science, or after you graduated, right after you graduated, or up to 5 years after you graduated. And we're teaching people how to pass interviews for software engineering roles. And soon we're going to launch a machine learning and data science track, because we've seen that there's so much appetite in the region for that. And it's a very different interview process. Okay. So I'm going to ask all these ladies to introduce themselves. And when you introduce yourself, the people who participated in Manara, so Samira, you'll go first, and then Sukaina, and then Rania. And May, I'm going to ask you to introduce yourself too, since you are an Arab woman in computing. You used to run the Palestinian chapter, and now you're here with Manara. So for each of you, I'm going to ask you to say, what were you doing before Manara? What are you doing after Manara? And what is one piece of advice you have to women computer scientists in MENA who are looking for a world-class job? And I'm just going to end with my piece of advice, which is to focus less on getting the best scores and best grades in university and focus more on your employability. So go tell all of your chapters that getting the best grades is not the most important thing to become employable. There's other things. Make sure you think about those. So with that, over to Samira. Just 1 quick minute to introduce yourself, and then Sukaina, and then Rania and May.
Hi everyone, this is Samira. I'm from Palestine. I'm a TechWoman fellow, and throughout TechWoman, I did an internship with LinkedIn. I spent around 5 years working in the backend industry as a backend engineer throughout an outsourcing company, linking me to companies in the US. And then I participated in Manara, and throughout Manara, I got a remote job with a US-based company, and I'm just starting with them as an infrastructure engineer. And I'm very excited to be here.
Sukaina, over to you.
Okay, hello everyone. My name is Sukaina and I'm from Morocco. I'm super glad to be here among you all. I was actually working as a data scientist in a bank in Morocco, and after this program, I got a job offer from a company in Sweden, in Stockholm, as a machine learning engineer. So I'm super excited to be here. I would love to share my advice with you. That would be probably work more on your networking, and as Ileana said, your employability, which is a very important topic, and also work on your resumes. They should be like interesting, like try to stay away from like the classical way of like writing your resumes. So I would also advise women to keep working on their skills, like even while having a job, just keep moving, keep working on your skills. And yeah, networking is also a very good thing. Like go add people on LinkedIn, speak to them, send like personalized notes, and I think things will be great for you. So yeah, that's it for me.
Thank you so much, Sukaina. Rania.
Hi everyone, I'm Rania Dawood. I am originally from Egypt. I'm still a student. So before Manara, I was just a student studying computer engineering and automatic control. After I joined Manara, I got an internship at Amazon. I should start at this August. I should start in August. And well, my advice for you all is not to be afraid. Most of the time you have the right skills and you are actually qualified, but you're just too afraid to apply for something and give it a shot. So my advice to you is not to be afraid and try everything.
Awesome. So true. May, over to you.
I will do this quickly. So I'm May Timraz. I'm from Gaza, Palestine, and I'm also a Tech Women Fellow and been part of the Arabic community for so many years now. I just recently joined Manara, and it's my passion. I love supporting all these women, and just being in an event like this where we're all sharing tips and supporting each other is amazing. And I will just recap what Rania said. Don't be afraid and don't screen yourself out. There's a lot of talent, but we tend to screen ourselves out and think that we don't qualify. And back to you.
So we're going to open it up to questions now. We would love if you can turn on your camera and ask your question, but if you can't, you can just speak it or type it. How are we facilitating questions, Ala? Are we doing raising hands? Is there a system?
Yeah, so basically, please everyone, write your questions in the chat and I will take them forward to the Manara team. Since we don't have yet any question, I have a question. So what's the starting point? Like how someone could start the application process with Manara program, and what's the expectation from the process itself?
Sure, I'll go with that one. So first of all, you can be at any stage in your career. Like I said, you can be an intern, which means you're still in college. You're going to be going back to college after the internship like Rania, or you can be up to 5 years out of college. And we accept applications twice a year. One of the things that's beautiful about Manara is it's not just about job placement, it's also about building a community, because the process of getting ready for these jobs is really intense. It's really hard, but if you do it together, it's fun. And so we do it in cohorts. There's 2 cohorts per year. One cohort is in November and the next is in May. And so what that means is that the next opportunity to get into Manara is this coming September. The deadline is going to be in early or the middle of September. And so starting July, starting August, you're going to see lots of messages being posted on social media. I see Mariam Shaheen is here. You may have seen her posting about it on social media because that'll be the opportunity to apply. And like May said, don't screen yourself out and tell your chapters not to screen themselves out. The application process includes a coding test and a soft skills portion. The soft skills is basically an interview that you record. Just give it a try. Don't worry about it. Often what we see with women is they take the coding test and they're like, oh, I don't like that score. And so then they don't apply. And actually we look at it and we are like, that's a great score. Why didn't she submit her application?
Great. So is it open for men and women? And
yes. Yeah, so we try to have 50% men and 50% women in every cohort. It's open to both.
Okay, great. We have another question here from Wafa from Algeria. She's asking how to introduce the Manara to Algeria and ask women to join. And I think this applies to every chapter. So how can they announce about this and ask the women to join? You usually announce this on your social media platforms?
So I'll let May answer this question.
So one thing in addition to social media is that I would like to connect with chapter leaders as well, so that we're able to send you more detailed information, not just the ones that we share on social media, so that you're able to forward this to your chapters. And if you're happy having any event during our recruiting time, we're happy one of us to join and introduce the program, and even one of our students or talents who got a job, that would be. So I will connect and we will work directly and closely with you if you are interested in introducing Manara to women of your chapters.
Yes, that's great. So that's an invitation for all chapters to connect with Mai and with the Manara team, so you can move it forward with introduction of the program. We have another question here from the role about the role. So is it only for software engineering roles? What other roles they can apply for?
Yeah, I'll answer that question. Then I'm also going to expand on that question and ask Samira and Rania and Sukena to answer. So the answer is that right now we're focused on software engineering roles. So full stack mostly, front end, back end, mobile, and we're expanding to machine learning and data science. That is our focus right now. In the future, we might consider expanding to things like DevOps engineering, but that's down the road. And we're not currently doing other areas like UX design, product management. We don't do that right now. We want to make sure that anything we do it really well. And so we're focused right now on general software engineering. And I wanted to ask Samira and Rania and Sukena, what was your biggest surprise when you actually went and started applying to these jobs? Whether before Manara or through Manara, what was different from what you had expected?
I can go first. So for every interview that I did locally, all of them were technical interviews. So I would show up for the interview and people would ask me to reverse a linked list or to do something with graphs. But after 5 years of working with the industry, I was shocked entirely, and Ilyana knows that mostly for mid-level to senior roles, they do not ask you technical questions. They ask you about your previous experience. So for the role that I just got, and I'm starting next Wednesday, my entire interview process did not include writing a single line of code. They just asked me about my previous experience, the projects I worked on, a project you're proud of, how do I resolve conflicts, and things like that. It was mostly designing things. So this could happen. I was honestly very shocked.
Rania or Sukena, whichever one.
I can go. Well, I was really surprised that at first I thought that during the interview, if you just got one mistake, then you're just out and you're just lost the job. But when I applied at Amazon, I made some mistakes, of course, because no interview can go 100% perfect. And after I ended the interview, I said, I will never get that internship. They must have hated me and everything went wrong. And after that, that was my surprise. I got accepted, and I think that was the best part, that they just need to know that you have the abilities and the skills. They don't need everything to go as perfect as you think it is.
Okay, so I will continue. I would say probably my biggest surprise is that actually it's possible. Like, do not underestimate yourself. Do not say that I will not get this job at this company. It's totally possible. You just need to have confidence, prepare, and go for it. Like as Rania said, do not expect that your interviews would be like super, like 100%, everything like would be correct. Like it's normal to do mistakes. It's normal to just have this confidence and try to show your personality while interviewing. Like, do not show that you panicked or that you couldn't. And it's fine. Just by smiling and exchanging with your interview, you can. They might fall in love with you. They will say, "Oh, this I would love to work with this person." So yeah, just be yourself and do your best. And yeah, I think things will be great and you will get the job. So yeah, just keep applying. Do not limit yourself at any stage. And best of luck for everyone.
I love the advice. And on that note, it's not just like, oh, we got one person into Google, one person into Amazon, one person into Great Remote Job. There's a system, and the system works. And there's over 10 people from Palestine in the last 1 year that got jobs at Google now through this system. Okay, so Google was trying to recruit from Palestine. For years, they couldn't find anybody who could pass their interviews. Then we created the system, and now 71%, so almost 3 out of 4 of the people that we refer to Google get a job at Google. That is completely unheard of, by the way. They don't have that statistic with any other partner. And the reason is that we actually give you mock interviews with people from these companies before you go to the companies. And so by the time you show up to a real interview, you know exactly how it works. You know whether you're ready.
Yeah, great. Very, very amazing information. Yeah, there is a question about remote internships. Do you
Yeah, so
offer
I'm not
remote roles?
sure if I understand the question. So for interns, like Ranya's an intern, she's going to be working at Amazon. We have partners who offer both, right? So we are building a network of recruiting partners. We're not just a training program. We're really, really strong in terms of having relationships with companies to make sure that resumes don't go into this big black hole, right? Rania, I know you had this experience, Samira too, where Rania applied to Google on her own. Nobody ever looked at the resume. Later it came through us and we have the partnerships that we were able to get the resume reviewed. But the point is that those partners that we have, we make sure to have partners who hire remotely and partners who hire on site and require relocation, because we know your dreams are different. Different people have different dreams. And yes, we have partners who hire interns remotely.
Great.
And by the way, interns
yeah.
who are working remotely can work during the school year too. So usually our interns are making around $15 or $20 an hour working for these tech companies remotely. It's not going to be Amazon or Google because they don't hire remotely, but it'll be great startups. And they often want you to keep working if you're working remotely. Like Kareem, for instance, is one of our partners, and they might hire during the summer, but they also might hire during the year part-time.
Great, very, very good. Amazing so far. I have another question regarding the expected skills. So from the discussion so far, we have talked about technical skills and soft skills. So in terms of technical skills, what are the topics that expected from junior to middle career engineer that they should have or they should expect during the interview?
So Rania, why don't you answer on the intern/junior side, and then Samira, you can answer on the mid-level side.
Okay. For a junior, I think it's a bit lower standards. So because we still have to learn and know more. So you just have to know the basic algorithms like graph algorithms and maybe linked lists and hash tables and hash maps and all of that. And for the technologies or the interfaces that you have to be familiar with, it depends on the role that you apply for. So if you're applying for a full stack engineer, so you have to know the IDEs that you're gonna work on and all of that. So I think the main thing that you have to focus on is problem solving and knowing data structure and algorithms, and everything after that is different.
Yeah, so I think for mid-level to senior roles, specifically system design interviews, they're very open-ended, and it's mostly an hour to 2 hours where you have to design a cache or design Facebook or things like that. So it's a lot of work and a lot of talking. So one thing to focus on is you have, first of all, focus on your communication, of course. Ask a lot of questions. They really like good questions. It's one thing that we learn at Manara. And honestly, I was afraid of asking questions because I thought that my questions are bad or silly questions, but asking good questions really reflects the fact that you care about the details, right? So that's one thing. And the third thing is you have to learn how to lead the interview, right? So if you want a more backend role, maybe focus on the backend side. If you want something that's more related to web, focus on the website, because designing something like Instagram, this can take forever, literally. So good luck, everyone. And you can reach out for any questions.
And Sukaina, can you share what it's like on the data science? Because I know some people are more interested in data science roles. What are those interviews like?
Okay, so basically those interviews are more and like related to the science machine learning part. So what to expect is, for example, in my case, I had like a use case. They kind of give you a use case to work on. So they expect you to send like a Jupyter notebook with the whole code in it, comments, and the code of course should be clean and everything. And they expect you also to send a presentation where you need to share the insights, your approach, and everything. So therefore, you need to be good at machine learning. You need to explain why you choose this over that, this model over that model. You should also be able to communicate the technical part and your choice of models and the results you got from your models in like a presentation, a well-done presentation for probably non-technical people. And yeah, very good communication skills is also something that is appreciated. So you might also expect to have like soft skills questions related to the project management and how you deal with the people in your team, or how you interact with your coworkers, etc. And yeah, any extra thing that you can add to your CV or your resume related to leadership skills or volunteering work would be also appreciated. That is something that they do also appreciate. This shows that you have something special, that you can be a future leader. And yeah, I think those are like the things that I kind of seen over all, like most of the data science interviews that I had.
I just want to add one. Yes. So one thing that I was surprised throughout my participation in Manara is that for some companies, if not all of them, they really care about your personality more than your technical stack, right? Because if you show curiosity and leadership skills, good management skills, they really want to invest in you. Without having their technical stack. So this is an important thing. I really did not know that people would pay this attention to soft skills. For instance, for the startup that I'm starting in next Wednesday, I had to do 2 system design interviews and another 2 behavioral interviews. So it's like as many. So it is really important.
I think we have another question from Eliana herself about what's your advice on negotiating, Samira?
Oh, Eliana knows me too well. Yeah, you caught me off guard. So I was so afraid from doing any negotiation, and everyone knows this at Manara. I always say that I spent 5 years without negotiating any salary, any raise, any bonus, or anything. My advice on negotiation is that it's not a war. Seriously, you're not begging. You're not actually fighting with people. It's not. You don't have to present it in a way that is, give me this or I'm out of here, right? You're just proposing something, you're asking for something. If they give it to you, then fine. If they don't, then it's not the end of the world, right? So you have to negotiate it in a way that you have to find a middle line between what you want and what the company is willing to offer, right? So my advice would be, do not be afraid from doing this uncomfortable conversation, because 15 minutes of being uncomfortable is totally worth having a 30% increase, right?
Yeah, on that note, we frequently, so at Manara, we very strongly recommend that every single person receiving an offer negotiate that offer. We give advice on that. We have a negotiations coach who can prepare you, etc. But really, like Samira said, you just have to let yourself be uncomfortable and you have to just ask. And we see people bringing their salaries up from, they'll get an initial offer of 40,000 and they'll bring it to 60,000, or it's an intern who's offered $15 an hour. They'll bring it up to $20 an hour, literally just by asking.
Great advice. We have another final question about resumes. And here I would like to add, so in general, how do you advise students or early career to write their resumes and highlight their work? And do you think personal projects or side projects are important in this process or not?
Maybe we can start with Rania and Sukaina and Samira in that order.
Okay. Well, for students, your resume can mainly depend on the project you worked on in college. So in college, you work on projects for web development maybe, and SQL projects and something like that. So you have to put it in your resume in bullet points and say exactly what you have did and try to highlight the difficulties that you overcome and the achievements that you made in your resume. And maybe if you made a solo project for your own, it would be awesome to put that in your resume also. And if it's still empty, then you should start doing some projects because they are the most important thing in your resume. And if you participated in some contests like IEEE Extreme or the Facebook hackathon and something like that, then it's gonna be amazing to put that in your resume also, and especially if you get a good rank. And at the end, if you have some leadership skills like participating in student activities and something like that, you can put that at the end. It would be amazing also to demonstrate your soft skills and the achievement that you made in college. I think that's it.
Sukaina,
I
do you
think
want
that was
to?
really great. But Sukaina, anything you want to add to that? Anything different?
I think I have like the same. I'm sharing the same point of view as Rania. So yeah, basically just on your resume, try to mention your projects. If in case you were like a student and you've never worked on something, try to like search on GitHub and find like a project that is already like built in, read it, try to understand it, and try to like rebuild something similar to it and put it on your GitHub and share the link. So the more projects are on your GitHub, the best it is for you as a student. Also for people who have already like a professional experience, that's something that would be also like it's always a good thing to have. And yeah, you should also be able to understand each project that you mentioned on your resume. Try also to mention the impact or the results of your project. Like, do not just mention that I worked on a project that does this and that, but try to mention the impact, like this increased the revenue of the company, or this like made people use, like, I don't know, like an application, web application or mobile application that like could help people to do this and that. So always like highlight your projects, highlight everything you've done. Even like if you think that it's a small project, try to highlight it and like try use a nice wording that would like show it or make it something big. That's how you sell yourself in the job market. So yeah, that's it.
I will give two advice. First of all, do include numbers. If you got the first rank out of what, right? I mean, so the first rank out of 5 teams, that's a really good thing. Or if you got accepted at an internship, mention the acceptance rate. That's one. The second thing is that do put extra effort on making your resume look professional by preventing, extra lines or extra spaces. Make it aligned so that people, when they first look at it, they want to actually dig into it. So that's important thing. The third thing is that always make it like a single page, right? Do not write 2 or 3 page resumes, because I did screening for my previous company for a while. I have fresh grads who would write 4 pages of resume. I mean, that's a lot, right? Always make it a single paged resume, and maybe remove some of the indentations from above and below so that it can fit. And of course, you're a fresh grad. Of course, add your personal projects, right?
Yeah, and I'd say the same advice applies for most experienced people. You still, most of the time, want to figure out how to fit the most important things on just one page. Ala, this has been great. Do you have any more questions, or where do we go from here?
Yeah, we don't have more questions, and I think we are now at the end of our session. And thank you all for being here today, especially Manara Program. All the speakers, amazing advice so far. We are really happy to have you with us today. And if you want to get in touch with them, especially this is the action point for the chapter leaders, you can get in touch with me or with the Manara Program. The email partners@manara.tech, and you can take it from there with them. And now we have reached the end of our conference day. Thank you, everyone, for staying late with us until this hour. I know it's maybe early morning on some places and late evening on other places. So thank you very much for being with us today. All the speakers, the panelists, the lightning talks, the session, amazing work from all the volunteers as well, from all the public relations and the communication and designers team, everyone. Thank you very much for making this day a great day. Thank you, everyone. And we hope to see you on our next event, who will be coming in June and August. Follow us on Arabwic pages on Facebook and the social media, and on our main website, arabwic.org. Thank you, everyone. Thank you, everyone. Bye-bye. Thank you, everyone. Yes, next week we have Women in Data Science Paris. Yeah. Thank you, everyone.